perfectly. So good morning, Netroots Nation. Good morning. Good morning. You know, I was getting ready this morning, and it occurred to me, it has been exactly 5 years since my first Netroots Nation. Well, 5 years. So much change, so much progress. We have a new consumer agency that has forced banks to return more than $10 billion directly to people. Equal marriage in every state in the union. Proof positive that in the end, love wins. All right. Comprehensive health care reform all across this country. Get there. Confederate flags coming down. Oh, here's one. That guy who was senator from Massachusetts 5 years ago now sends around shirtless pictures of himself and sells diet pills. Seriously. Okay, that's a lot of change. And yet, some things are constant. Some things are never changing. 5 years. 5 years. I am not going to point fingers or name names, but I see a lot of friends out there who are just as hungover from a night of karaoke as you were 5 years ago. Now look, I know there was some controversy about being in Arizona, and it's not because it is hot enough out there to melt your flip-flops. But I want to start right off the bat, before we get any further in this, as loud as I can. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Arizona's SB 1070 is a stupid law. It is stupid, it is racist, it is unconstitutional, and it should be struck down. And let's say it loud and clear to the Republicans. If you truly want to do something about immigration, then get out of the way, get on the right side of history, and let us pass comprehensive immigration. Now, last year I came to Netroots to talk about what we believe in. Immigration reform was high on that list, along with equal pay for equal work, along with raising the minimum wage, Social Security, climate change, marriage equality, Wall Street reform. It was a very long list. But if you weren't with us in Detroit, don't worry. Sarah Palin did a fascinating line-by-line analysis of the whole thing on YouTube. Deep. But look, no matter who wants to make fun, yes, we do talk about our beliefs. We talk about our values. We talk about what it means to be a progressive, because these are the things that define what we're fighting for. And here's the heart of it. We believe that the real strength of this country starts with people, not with corporations. When hardworking families have a chance to improve their lives. We believe that the country gets stronger when we invest in helping people succeed. Our lives improve when we reach out to our neighbors. We're tired of a game that is rigged for the rich and the powerful. For progressives, it's all about a fighting chance, not just for some of us, but for all of us. That's what we're about. The naysayers, the lobbyists, and the public relations machines, the political pundits and the talking heads, the well-greased politicians, and the oh-so-important experts who write off our values as too liberal, too unrealistic to be in the mainstream. They've spent millions of hours and billions of dollars to help create an insider Washington, a Washington where everything works wonderfully for the those with money and power. They have built the ultimate, cozy, comfy game that is rigged for the insiders. It's the Washington where, despite all the down-home ads that run during election season, the values of the American people are mostly ignored. Now, Insider Washington watched one of its own representatives nearly die from a gunshot to the head just 100 miles from here, and then refused to hear the country's calls for common-sense gun reform. Insider Washington worries that we've been too tough on Wall Street, while the American people know that banksters who broke our economy belong in jail. Insider Washington labels any idea with a hint of spunk or ambition as radical and outside the mainstream, while millions of Americans show up for rallies or chip in $10 to support a democracy that represents our true values. That's what's happening. Well, I'm here to make an announcement to Insider Washington. America is far more progressive than you are. Yeah. When it comes to building a future, Americans across this country know the direction we should head. And if we give them a chance, they're ready to go there. So I wanted to start this morning by saying, let's look at some facts. I want to put some facts, and we can post the numbers in the footnotes later. But look at the facts about America. Last November, when Democrats across the country had a truly terrible day, four Republican states voted to raise their minimum wage. In South Dakota, 55% of voters supported a minimum wage increase. In Nebraska, 59%. In Arkansas, 66%. And in Alaska, 69%. And that shouldn't surprise anyone. 70% of Americans across this country support an increase in the federal minimum wage to at least $10.10 an hour. Now, Republicans may vote to keep workers in poverty, but on minimum wage, the American people are progressives. Progressives believe that students shouldn't be crushed by debt, and the federal government should not make a profit on student loans. And so do 73% of Americans. Beltway Republicans may vote to stomp on people who are deep in debt, but on student loans, the American people are progressives, and to them, debt-free college sounds pretty darn good. Progressives believe that people should be able to care for sick family members without fear of losing their jobs, and so do 80% of Americans. Republicans may pander to their big business pals, but on paid sick leave, the American people are progressives. That's what we have. Progressives believe that millionaires and billionaires should pay the same taxes as their secretaries, and so do 2/3 of all Americans. Republicans may support special breaks for the rich and powerful, but on tax fairness, the American people are progressives. Progressives believe that after a lifetime of work, people are entitled to retire with dignity, and that means a commitment to strengthening and expanding Social Security. And 79% of likely voters in last year's election also supported increasing Social try to cut benefits, but on Social Security, the American people are progressives and they are ready to take on the retirement crisis in this country. Progressives believe in trade, but not the kind written behind closed doors by corporate lawyers that leave American workers eating dirt. And nearly 2/3 of Americans favor some sort of trade restrictions. More than half oppose fast-tracking trade deals. Republicans and some Democrats may want to make it easier for multinational corporations to ship jobs overseas, but on trade, the American people are progressives. Progressives believe that powerful corporations and billionaires have far, far too much influence over our politics, and their stranglehold over our government rigs the system. Nearly 3/4 of America agrees. Now, Republicans may cozy up to their billionaire sugar daddies, but on campaign finance and Washington reform, the American people are progressives. Progressives believe that Wall Street needs stronger rules and tougher legal enforcement, yes. And 5 years after Dodd-Frank, it's time to stop pretending and really end too big to fail. With rules like Glass Steagall.
But I don't know what it's doing right now. Clear number of months. I just pushed the video back there.
And here's the
I got it.
thing. 79% of Americans believe Wall Street should be held accountable with tougher rules. And there they are. Beltway Republicans may be willing to let the biggest banks break our economy again, but on Wall Street reform, the American people are progressives. I'll make one more very important point. Progressives believe that it shouldn't take a revolution on YouTube to drive a revolution in law enforcement. It shouldn't take a hurricane in New Orleans or a massacre in Charleston for Americans to wake up to what is happening, what is still happening to people of color in this country. And it sure as heck shouldn't take poll numbers to unite us in our determination to build a future for all of our children. Now look, House Republicans may still want to fly the Confederate flag, and Republican leaders may cower in the shadow of Donald Trump, but the American people understand that Black Lives Matter and America is not a country that stands for racism. Issue to build an economy that creates real opportunity, that doesn't lock up millions of our fellow human beings behind bars, and that uses the talents of all our people. America must prove that on equality and justice, the American people are progressives. I don't care what Insider Washington says. They can be oh so sophisticated, and they can tell us how our ideas are too progressive, too far left, or just not realistic. But here at Netroots Nation, we have news for Insider Washington. The American people are progressive, and our day is coming. are so far out of sync with the American people. How can they keep calling the shots? How do they keep the game rigged? I'll tell you, a big part of it is money. You said it right. Money. Money for campaigns, money for PACs, but money for so much more. Money to hire armies of lobbyists and lawyers. Money for PR firms and trade associations to sell a message. Money for think tanks to give the cover of respectability for genuinely ugly ideas. Money that flows like a river through Washington. Money that rushes everywhere, sweeping along as much as it can and threatening to drown anything or anyone that gets in its way. And there's a pot of money we need to talk about. The money that keeps the revolving door spinning. It's about big bonuses that Wall Street banks pay their executives to spend a little time running our government. And about the big payoffs that these big banks offer when people leave government and head to Wall Street. I just want to talk about one example of those revolving doors. The gold-plated door with Citigroup's name engraved in big letters. How fast has that revolving door spun? Well, let's count it. 3 of the last 4 Treasury Secretaries under Democratic presidents have had close Citigroup ties. By the way, the 4th was offered the CEO position at Citigroup, but found another job. The Vice Chairman of the Federal Reserve System is a Citigroup alum. The Undersecretary of International Affairs for Treasury is a Citigroup alum. The U.S. Trade Representative is a Citigroup alum. The person nominated to be the Deputy U.S. Trade Rep, who is currently the Assistant Secretary of Treasury, is a Citigroup alum. A recent Chairman of the National Economic Council at the White House is a Citigroup alum. A recent Chairman of the Office of Management and Budget went to Citigroup immediately after leaving the White House. Another recent Chairman of the Office of Management and Budget is also a Citigroup alum, but I'd be double counting because now he's the Secretary of the Treasury. And those are just the most visible parts. The revolving door spins just as fast for all of the deputies and assistants and special assistants too. So what has the revolving door helped provide for Citi? Well, during the financial crisis, Citigroup received nearly $500 billion in government balance. I mean, that was trillion with a T. Last December, the omnibus bill, the one that we had to either pass or shut down the government, that had a little provision written by Citigroup lobbyists tucked into it. A provision that would make it easier for big banks like Citi to gamble with taxpayer money and once again get bailed out. And listen to this. Even when we discovered the giant giveaway buried down in the fine print, even when we blew the BS whistle long and loud, even when it was all over the blogs and all over the press, even when the issue was red hot, even then, Citi managed to rake together enough votes in both the House and the Senate to pass it into law. I want you to think about how much power it takes to get that done. So here's a point I want to make today. Laws matter. Sure they matter. But it also matters who interprets those laws, who enforces those laws, who monitors what's going on, who exercises judgment. Judgment to indict a bunch of bankers who break the law, or to cut a more civilized deal that lets banks pay a fine and all the executives go home and sleep comfortably at night. Think of it this way. How would the world be different today if, when the economic crisis had hit, Joe Stiglitz had been Secretary of the Treasury and Simon Johnson and Robert Reich had been It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. Personnel is policy. Wall Street insiders have enough influence in Washington already without locking up one powerful job after another in the executive branch of our government. Sure, private sector experience can be valuable. No one ever said otherwise. But there is a point at which the revolving door compromises the public interest, and we are way beyond that point. We need a government that doesn't just work for the rich and powerful. We need a government that works for the people. And Netroots, that's why I came to you. With presidential election. I need your help on this. I think that anyone running for that job, anyone who wants the power to make every key economic appointment and every key nomination across the federal government should say loud and clear, we don't run this country for Wall Street and mega corporations, we run it for people. No one is disqualified just because they have Wall Street experience. But public service is about more than serving one industry. Anyone who wants to be president should appoint only people who have already demonstrated that they are independent, who have already demonstrated that they can hold giant banks accountable, who have already demonstrated that they embrace the kinds of ambitious economic policies that we need to rebuild opportunity and a strong middle class in this country. So I want to turn that into something specific. Just 2 days ago, Tammy Baldwin introduced an ad. Let's hear it. All right, just a couple of days ago, Tammy Baldwin introduced a new bill to slow down the revolving door. And I want to help out here. This bill would put an end to Wall Street banks giving multi-million-dollar bonuses to their executives for taking government jobs. That's what our bill is. No more paying people off to remember their Wall Street friends while they run our government. No more wink and a nod working in the public interest while pocketing millions of dollars from your friends on Wall Street. The same friends who will welcome you back once your term through government is over. Now look, this bill won't fix everything, but it'll throw some heavy sand in the gears of the revolving door. And it's a bill that any presidential candidate should be able to cheer for. So that's why I'm here today. I'm here today because I need your help, Netroots Nation. The country needs your help. The only way that candidates for president or for any office will slow down that revolving door, the only way that candidates will say enough is enough is if you demand that they say it. We're running out of time. The middle class in this country has been hacked at, squeezed, and hammered, and it's nearly at the breaking point. Unions are under brutal attack. With no job growth in the middle, the poor are trapped with opportunity only a distant dream. The generation of young people is caught in a slow-growth economy in the U.S., while giant corporations are building their investments overseas. And as our world heats up and our oceans rise, billionaires protect their investments in coal mines and oil wells by buying more and more elections. America is running out of time. We can't afford to nibble around the edges anymore. Money and influence peddling is strangling our country. Insider Washington is calling the shots. We need leadership that is willing to fight for this country. Leadership that is willing to make working people a first priority. Leadership that recognizes the importance of major structural change on everything from Wall Street regulation to tax policy to education to trade. We need leaders to show they understand the urgency of this moment. Leaders to show some ambition and some backbone. You've heard the numbers. I started with the numbers. You've heard those numbers on minimum wage, on student loans, on Wall Street, on taxes. You've heard them 2/3. 73%, 80%. Those were Democrats and Republicans, independents and libertarians, young people and seniors, people who breathe party politics and people who would rather swallow a slug than admit to liking any political party. That's America. And as different as we are on these key economic issues, on the economic issues that will shape the future of this country, America is progressive. But Insider Washington isn't listening. Insider Washington turns its back. So it's on us. It's on us to show that our agenda is America's agenda, and that America's agenda is a progressive agenda. It's on us to show what we believe in and to fight for the values that we believe in. I'm here today because there's one thing I know. You don't get what you don't fight for. So I came to Netroots because we need fighters out there. We need fighters who are ready to say,